Let's do it. Generate talent back again. We're talking about receivers 30 to 34 in the E tier on Flock Fantasy's wide receiver ranks. All in the same tier according to Flock Fantasy, but with these five guys, there are a couple that stand out who I'd much rather have than the others. Let's start with Travis Hunter. He's probably the most interesting man in the world right now. We just don't really know what's going on situationally with him. But because of the age and being 23 years old, being a former Heisman winner, which is actually two on this list, so that's kind of exciting. Seeing him in this kind of tier. So we see him at 23 years old. More likely, I shouldn't even have wide receiver to the left of his name. It sounds like he's cornerback first now. All of a sudden, fam, right? Travis Hunter had one real big game. It was in garbage time against the Rams. He had over 100 yards, high level targets, 7+. But outside of that, that was after that he got injured, and we never really got to see the Travis Hunter wide receiver one experience. So we're left with a lot to be desired here. We know what he's capable of. He looks a little wild running routes in the combine and different things. People have pointed it out as well. But I don't think he's going to have a problem getting open. But the big thing is this guy going to be able to play cornerback and receiver and put up the numbers we need, get those high quality targets? Because at the end of the day, with my receivers, I want targets. I want, over everything else. I want receptions more so than big boom plays. Give me 7, 8 receptions, and I'm cool. I can eat every week, and I don't have to worry about trying to get that one big Alec Pierce bomb, who was in our previous tier. So here we go. Travis Hunter, I'm putting him at number 4. There are just so many questions out there. If I'm in a competitive window, I'm moving this guy if there's still some hype out there. If there's not, I got to hold him because you got to get something for him. He was a top 6 rookie draft pick for you in Dynasty Fantasy Leagues. Still a lot of talent, a lot of meat still left on the bone here. Coming off of surgery, we're not really sure how to feel with this. We don't know if the reporters close to the team are, telling the truth that he's a cornerback first now and that he'll be in the offense. But with Brian Thomas still on the team, not being able to be moved, at least now prior to the draft, we have to kind of go with caution here with Travis Hunter. There's just nothing set in stone. We don't really know his positioning. And for that sense, I'm putting him in the 4 spot here in receivers 30 to 34. Coming in at number 5, I got DJ Moore. Now, I know everyone, let me move Addison over too. I know everyone's super excited about DJ Moore's spot with the Bills. We've been waiting for them to get a number 1 receiver. But again, with this number 1 receiver thing in the Bills, it's like no matter who they get, whether they try and draft, they try and pluck Keon Coleman, doesn't work out. I still think that they don't really have their number 1 receiver. Yes, DJ Moore's been a number 1 receiver in the past for Justin Fields and the Bears, as well as Carolina back in the day. But now you're 29 years old. Let me pull up his numbers from last year because they were somewhat disappointing. I still remember that great catch to walk it off against Green Bay in the back of the end zone. The snow game, of course. But don't let that cloud our vision, right? So he's going to be 29 when the season starts. He was in 85% of snaps, right? So he's almost always on the field. Again, new team, but being the Bills' number 1 receiver, that number should only be better at 85% plus. He only averaged 3 receptions a game, and that's rounding it up. So 3 receptions a game, average 40 receiving yards, and a third of a touchdown. So that equated to about 10 fantasy points. It's just not exciting. We know with Josh Allen, there's a lot of opportunity, right? You're going to score a lot of points. So that'll open up DJ Moore a little bit more. But I still think Kincaid is like the engine of the offense, as well as James Cook and the accessory to Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to vulture some touchdowns by running them in. And I just don't know if DJ Moore is going to be getting 6, 7 receptions a game. I don't see that out of him anymore. With averaging 3 with the Bears, it's just like, and he had a chance. Like Odunze was hurt. Burden wasn't a thing yet. And DJ Moore didn't take over and show me some big alpha receiver. And Caleb wasn't bad last year. I just don't see DJ Moore as a number 1 receiver. Yes, by title, he's their number one. But I think Kincaid probably gets more targets over the center. I think James Cook takes a lot of the workload. And then Josh Allen's going to put it on his feet too. So while DJ Moore is exciting, he's climbing the ranks here. I just don't see him in the top 33 here. So here we go. DJ Moore, number 5. Travis Hunter, number 4. Travis Hunter's interesting in just that, the age gives us a couple years for the Jags to figure it out and maybe draft some defensive personnel, give Hunter a chance. But for right now, in competitive windows, I just can't trust Travis Hunter, and I don't see DJ Moore as being an alpha 1. Okay, next guy up. I got Jordan Addison going at 3 here. Let me move these guys out of the way, down to Waddle and Smith. So with Addison, I drafted this guy initially in my first dynasty draft ever. And right away, first offseason, he gets caught going over 100 miles an hour. Within like 2 weeks after drafting him, the guy's already getting pulled over and like warned in Minnesota. This offseason, I think can't even call it the offseason. I think before the Super Bowl, he got caught speeding again. I just don't trust this guy. And there are enough questions in the Minnesota offense. Now adding Kyler Murray, so there's a little bit of hopefully sustainability there where he'll get his fair targets. They'll be on point, and he can make plays happen like he did earlier in his career. He's still only 24, which I love. A lot of meat on the bone there, to say that one again. USC kid, high draft pick, warrants the draft capital, right? Great receiver, always going to be second fiddle to Jefferson. So I could see Addison moving on eventually and wanting to be that number 1 that he deserves. But for right now, you got Kyler, who's going to make plays on his feet, and Addison playing second fiddle. With all the other offseason stuff, it's got to play into things here too, where I just can't trust a guy like this over Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith. But Addison's stock definitely going up. He might be someone I'm looking at buying pretty soon here, because I think right now he's being slept on. Just the off the field issues seem to bother me a little bit more than everyone else. It just seems like every offseason Addison has to go do something to remind you he's in the media, staying relevant, just in the wrong ways. Coming in at number 2, you thought. Yeah, I grabbed Devonta Smith, but I'm going Jalen Waddle here. Every year I have Jalen Waddle. He's injured. But let's talk about it. New quarterback, Malik Willis. I don't think this really helps his case. I think Tua was probably better for Jalen Waddle. But what does help his case is Tyreek Hill's out of town. With Jalen Waddle, he'll be 27 when the season starts. He actually, out of all these guys, averaged the highest in fantasy points last year with a little bit over 12.10. And he finished 26th overall in Superflex for receiving. Whereas the previous 3 guys, we had DJ Moore finish 36th, Addison 45th, and Travis Hunter 96th, with most of the season missing. But with Jalen Waddle, he's out on 78% of snaps. Now, why is that the lowest with amongst the other guys here? Jalen Waddle gets hurt, man. He gets hurt. Just like when I had him, the year I had him, just always hurt. He's leaving the field. He's like that. Who's that running back that's always checking in and out of the game? Hopefully it'll come to me shortly, but it's like the whole game he's in and out. He's on the sideline. He's hurt. Woody Marks. Every game he's like hurt, and he comes back in. He's hurt. And he comes back in. That's Jalen Waddle. He just constantly takes trips to the locker room, and that takes away from game time for sure, right? But he does average a flat 4 receptions a game with 57 yards last year, which is safe. This Dolphins offense should be losing a lot. Maybe they're sucking for Arch Manning, sucking for luck there. So there's going to be opportunities where they're passing at the end of the game. I don't think Malik Willis is going to be a very good passer. We haven't seen much of him. This kind of reminds me of who's the other Green Bay quarterback way back, Matt Flynn, that had that little run. I think his was only 1 game. Malik Willis's, I think, was about 6. But Matt Flynn had that run, and he got paid a huge contract, went to the Seahawks, and just stunk it up. I don't think Malik Willis is that guy. Waddle will get his targets enough for him to, as Lord willing, he's healthy, enough for him to sustain this wide receiver 30, wide receiver 3 in fantasy type player. But I just don't think the ceiling is very high for Waddle. I don't. He's going to be getting number one corners now instead of Tyreek distracting from that. I just This guy is a good, solid option. I think he's wide receiver, probably 31 when we're talking about it. And amongst these guys, I think he's probably the top of this tier here with Addison, Hunter, and Moore. Where I think there's a tier break, which Block Fantasy doesn't have him in a different tier, but I think Devonta Smith is definitely a different tier. This is number one on our list of. Sorry, let me get the right guy here. This is number one on our list. That's Devonta Smith. There's just a lot of opportunity here. Let me move Waddle too. And this is your second Heisman on the board too, right? So Travis Hunter was a Heisman for obviously both sides of the ball. But Devonta Smith was a Heisman for the receiver side of the ball. So with Devonta Smith here, a whole lot of chance that A.J. Brown gets moved. Now, let's say A.J. Brown doesn't get moved. I do think the Philly offense goes back to passing the ball. Okay, their passing volume was very weak last year, and we saw it kind of crippled them. They weren't as dynamic. A lot of problems with like A.J. Brown getting at Sirianni and Sirianni getting at A.J. Brown. Just a lot of drama and BS, and I don't think that this team is like that, right? You got a very winning pedigree with the Eagles all the way dating back to Andy Reid. And now with Sirianni, he's created a culture where they're winning ball. But with last year, it just seemed a little off, seemed a little weird. You know who didn't complain? Devonta Smith. We love Devonta Smith here. He's still 27. That's a prime age for receivers. He averaged almost 12 fantasy points a game last year, which isn't great. But I think his ceiling, super high. And I think this is about his floor, which out of this is wide receiver 30. I do think there should be a tier break here between Smith and Waddle and the rest of the gang, right? Devonta Smith's out there for 85% of snaps. He's in those two receiver sets that we need. 4.5 receptions a game. So this is, on this list, he's the only one that averaged more than 4 receptions a game, Devonta Smith. So the target volume, even with A.J. Brown, is just a different pedigree when we're looking at these 5 guys, right? Devonta Smith also averaged the most receiving yards with 60. Not as much touchdown volume. His touchdowns, he averaged about 1 touchdown every 4 games, which if you've been watching me enough, you know I'm not buying into the touchdown hype. Yeah, certain guys are better at scoring touchdowns, a la Devontae Adams, but I'm not buying in because they score touchdowns, right? If Devonta Smith's touchdown rate's a little low, which it is, it's lower than Jalen Waddle's, it's lower than DJ Moore's, that's not something that's going to hold me back. It actually makes me think that Devonta Smith's touchdown volume has to go up this year. So if A.J. Brown moves on, Devonta Smith is alpha. He moves out of this group of guys and we never see him again and becomes very hard to trade for, right? So right now, I think there's a huge opportunity for you guys to go get Devonta Smith. While there's still questions about if they're going to hold on to A.J. Brown, I think he's just got to get out of town. I haven't heard him make up with Sirianni yet. They both are high ego guys. So even if Devonta Smith is wide receiver 2, doesn't look like they're bringing Goddard back if they have to hold on to A.J. Brown. It just seems like Devonta Smith has got to earn more targets this year, regardless of the A.J. Brown or Goddard thing. Whatever happens here, I think Devonta Smith is going up. He's trending up, where the rest of these receivers outside of DJ Moore may be going up because of the targets. The other ones, not a whole lot really going on. I don't think Waddle's situation got a whole lot better, even moving to wide receiver 1. Jordan Addison, still wide receiver 2. We'll see what Kyler's got. And Travis Hunter, it's so murky. We just don't know how to buy in. I think if you're rebuilding, if you can get Hunter on the cheap, you got to win on the trade calculator if you're getting Travis Hunter because it's a lot of risk. And I don't think the risk really outweighs what you're giving up, you know. So Devonta Smith is a big winner in this one. Currently wide receiver 30, if we were calling these ranks here. But I think I'd even take him. Let's go up a tier. The guys in front of Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Jameson Williams, Marvin Harrison, Zay Flowers. I'm taking him over all those guys. Maybe it sounds crazy. Probably not. Yeah, no, I'm taking him over all those guys. Zay Flowers a little younger. Marv's much younger. I just can't trust a lot of those guys. J-Mo. I like Devonta Smith. I think he should be climbing this tier. and getting into his own tier with those guys. I don't think he belongs with the set of four. But you call it. I just think huge opportunity for Devonta Smith coming forward. And with the rest of these guys, there's some opportunity, but I'm not buying in. Looking at the youth, Addison just on the offseason, I'm worried about him even just making it back to the field. Travis Hunter, we don't know his situation. DJ Moore, I'm not buying the wide receiver one tag in terms of target. Yes, he's the wide receiver one, but his season looked very much like Romeo Doubs. So are you paying him that? He got traded for what, a 5th round pick? No, that was Pittman. DJ Moore got a 2nd round pick. How does Mike Pittman Jr. get traded for essentially a 5th round pick, but DJ Moore gets traded for a 2nd round pick? Like I don't see a whole lot of difference between DJ Moore and Mike Pittman. Maybe that's just me. But Devonta Smith, the big winner in this one. If you have an option and they're all being valued the same, Devonta Smith definitely has a higher pedestal, higher ceiling, a lot more we could do with this guy, even with him being like a $180 soaking wet. He's a Heisman winner. Trust the process. Devonta Smith's a great buy here. As long as they don't bring back A.J. Brown and Goddard, I don't think they said they can financially. So they got to find maybe keeping one. And I think A.J. Brown would be the most likely to move just with the Sirianni beef and all that stuff. So Devonta Smith's going to be exiting this tier pretty soon, if he's not already. Buy your Devonta Smith now. This is the last maybe 2-3 years that he's going to give us that we want to be holding on to this guy. And the Eagles offense going back to the aerial assault. Let's go. Generate talent.